Let's say you're out and about and you need to start a fire, but you don't have matches. You don't have a lighter. Well, I'm going to show you 5 ways to start a fire without matches or a lighter. One way is if you take batteries and if you had a flashlight and you had a couple D-cell batteries, even one battery will do, but if you take the battery and if you had steel wool and you took the steel wool and you touch it from the negative portion of the battery to the positive, right in here, you're going to see it glow. Now at that point, you're going to take like leaves and grass and bark, especially bark, anything dry, and you put it here and you blow on it and get this to start flaming up. And then you're going to have your small sticks and you're going to be ready for this. And you're going to put the small sticks on and then continue all the way up until you have the bigger sticks and then into your logs. So starting a fire with steel wool and batteries, very effective if you've got these things. Number 4, flint and steel. So if you find a piece of flint on the ground and you have something like a pocket knife or any kind of piece of metal, it could be some sort of a knife or anything, any piece of metal that you've got, you take and strike the steel wool. Now, if you have an old sock or a piece of fabric and some motor oil or any type of oil, you take and soak this rag into you soak the oil into the rag, and then when you strike the steel, you strike the flint over the rag with the steel, little embers are going to start to form on this. And when you see that, when the spark hits that oily rag, you're going to blow onto this, creating a little bit of a bigger ember. Now, at that point, you'll take that shredded bark and whatever it is, and you make what we call a bird's nest. You take the bark and anything that's dry, you rub it until you get this really fine tender. Then you hold this oily rag with the ember on it and you blow it and start to transfer it until it starts a little bit of a fire. Once you get that fire started, you're going to be prepared with very small sticks, and the fire is going to get bigger. And then you'll eventually have the larger sticks, and now you're good. You've got a fire, and that'll keep you warm. Or if there's people out looking for you, they're going to be able to see the smoke in the day, and they're going to see the fire at night. Number 3, rubbing a stick together. And a lot of people, they say rubbing sticks together, and if you take 2 sticks and you rub them together, you'll be able to start a fire. Well, I've seen a lot of people try, and I've never seen it work, but let me show you a technique that does. If you take a green stick and you take the string off of your shoe and you tie it to the bow and you wrap it around the stick like this. That way when you move the bow back and forth, you're going to get a lot of friction right here. So another thing that you want to do is if you have a knife, you carve a piece of wood that has a little bit of a triangle here and a little divot here, and you're going to place that right here with the triangle right here. And if you get a piece of wood, you're going to put another piece of wood up here, and you're going to hold this here, move the bow back and forth, and you're going to get a lot of friction here. Now, you'll get a lot of friction here too, and if you take a little bit of earwax and you put it in here, it's going to lubricate this section in here, causing all the friction to happen at the bottom portion of the stick. Now, you want this stick to be nice and dry, and then when you turn that stick over, and you'll start to see first you're going to see it start to get black right here, and eventually you're going to see an ember start to happen right here on the bottom of that stick. And sometimes people will put the tinder, like that, the bark and anything that you can find, and you mesh it up real tight and real small, and you put it there. Sometimes the fire will come out into this triangle and start the fire. But usually what you end up having to do is you have to take this and you blow on this with the ember. It gets a little bit bigger, and then you hold the tinder up to this stick with the ember and get the tinder. The tinder will start a little bit of a fire, and then of course, like we've been talking, you take your little sticks and then you get your fire increases, and you take your bigger sticks until you're up to your logs. And this technique does work, but it takes a lot of practice. So I'd start now, because if you want to, it is kind of fun to prove that you can do it. So I wouldn't expect it the first time, and I've definitely started a fire this way. I've seen people start a fire this way, and it does work, but it's definitely pretty tricky. Number 2, a lens, or if you're lucky enough to have a magnifying glass, that would just be really nice. I've seen people very quickly with a magnifying glass start a leaf on fire. Now, the other thing that you can do, and I've definitely done it, is if you have eyeglasses, you can take and focus it right onto a leaf or the tinder, anything that you've got. If you've got a little bit of motor oil, or you've got a piece of fabric, and you can soak the motor oil into fabric, that's gonna get you an ember pretty quick. But you basically, if somebody had a cigarette, I've seen people that have not had lighters just pull out their glasses and start a cigarette right up with their eyeglasses. Takes a little bit of patience that way, but I guess when you want to smoke that cigarette bad enough, you'll definitely do that if you don't have a lighter. So if you've got your lens, you just take the sun and you project it down until you have a real small, as small as you can get. The smaller of a dot that you get, the faster it's going to go. So if you've got your glasses, or in a pinch, if you had to, you could take just a clear piece of plastic, and you could put a drop of water on there, and that water will cause like a little bit of a magnifying glass. It'd be pretty tricky, but when you're out there and you need a fire, you start resorting to some pretty innovative ways to be able to get a lens, to be able to get that, so you can get that dot, get it started, and once you get that tinder going, you just keep adding sticks until you've got yourself a nice little fire and you've started it in a very innovative way. Number 1, and I'm not saying this is the best way to start a fire without matches, but there's lots of ways. You can use a car battery and a pencil. So the pencil, if you take the pencil and you expose the graphite, this piece right in here, if you break the pencil and you get the carbon on both sides, and it's able to reach from this point of the battery, the positive, to the negative. This electrode in here is going to get super hot, and it's actually going to start to burn the wood on the pencil. So once you get that going, then of course you just keep your tinder going on until you've got your fire started. So yeah, the carbon in a pencil is actually the same material that your hot surface igniter in your furnace, those furnaces that don't have a pilot light, but the electricity starts the fire. This is the same material that gets that started. So it's more than effective enough. Now, if you did have a pair of pliers or something, to be able to hold the pencil, as it starts to ignite. I mean, I really wouldn't want to start a fire this way, but when you're in a pinch and you need a fire, you're gonna take whatever science that you know, and there's a lot of other techniques of being able to start a fire, ways that I don't even know, because when you're in that situation, you take science, you put it together, you start the fire, and then you're able to survive that situation. So I hope that you have found these 5 techniques of starting a fire without matches or lighter interesting. And if you have enjoyed the video or you found them useful, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.